Hey, what's up, Reefers? This is the Inappropriate Reefers. For the last 2 weeks since the worldwide corals visits, I have not done much to the tank at all. There's a good reason for that. It's because my lovely mother-in-law is visiting and she is staying in the basement next to the big tank, so I have just put everything on pause after that big water change. We were having some serious issue with the 135-gallon tank, but I just did not have time to deal with it, and I don't want to work on the tank while she's here. Now, she left yesterday, and the first thing I do right now is making up a batch of water, do another solid water change, and clean things up. But before I do that, I want to show you guys what the tanks look like right now. Tanks are a hot mess, both tanks. But because of this little break, I feel recharged and ready to tackle both tanks, and I have really pretty clear path forward for both tanks. In this tank, even though it's really dirty, the 3 fish, which is they're essentially in quarantine right now. Basically, this tank just has 3 of these azure damselfish. They're probably a favorite fish at this moment in terms of values, how pretty they are, and how active they are, and how peaceful they are, surprisingly. So they are here almost like a QT. They've been in this tank. One of them have been there for like almost half a year at this point. The other 2 have been in there for 2.5 months. Doing beautiful. This tank, even though it's really dirty once again and growing algae, the LPS are happy, the softies are happy. This tank can grow corals. We have coral growing out of the water column, like the big finger ladder. This coral in particular, I believe, has caused me a lot of issues and heartaches in terms of chemical warfare. So we'll address this. Most likely I will give them out locally to anybody that wants it, and then I'll convert this tank more towards the LPS portion, because I feel like the torch actually looks kind of gold in this tank versus in the 135. Maybe I'm not cranking the blue enough, but LPS actually looks nice here. The mangrove also recovered from the trimming really well. In fact, I cannot even see or remember why I trimmed this tree, and it's just sprouting new leaves already. Look at this. So they're doing well. Look at all these new sprouts. These are the shelf sheaths that came out. So these are new growth that kind of just popped out, and I do believe that it did grow a little bit more vigorously after the trim. So once again, huge thanks to Taylor for all of you who have not seen that video yet. Basically, he kind of did a FaceTime with me and taught me a lot about maintaining mangrove in terms of how to trim it as well as the health. We do have some yellow leaves, but that's to be expected for mangrove. They do sacrifice some of the older leaves or lower down leaves when there's some nutrient issues or just salts that they need to excrete. So that's that. Otherwise, the tree looks really healthy. Well, okay, well, that's a really quick look of the mangrove tank. We'll dive a little bit deeper later in this video, I think. But now let's hop on down and check out the 135. All right, so that was the mangrove tank. Now let's take a look at the 135-gallon tank in the basement. I have not seen this tank, like really stand in front of the tank and look at it for quite a while. So here's a nice little look as well. Cyanobacteria pop up on the sand bed. Not a huge deal for me. I've dealt with them before, easy to beat. Hey, algae, I see them as a nutrient control. I'll be plucking those out. My biggest worry were the SPS kicking the buckets, and I'm not here to kind of pull out the dying corals that will cause issue. It looks like goldenrods, the edges are gone, but the main chunks are still viable. I have had bleached out mini colony like this last year coming back. So I'm still holding out hopes. Baby clam looks really happy. I think they almost doubled in size. The rest of the clam also look really happy, which is great, even though I think it's actually starting to cover up some of the kryptonite candy cane we need to address. The LPS, mainly the hammer, the frog spawn, here let me swing to the side, looks to be recovered. Well, they were never really affected by whatever that was going on that was taking down all the SPS. Probably bacteria based. Pretty sure it's bacteria based. They seem to be doing well. While here, let's also look at the softies. That's important, and I'll get a little bit more into the softies shortly. The softies are looking great as always here. Look here. Same thing, but just different placement, different light level, and look at how much longer the tentacle is. And this is the Bahama Llama's Whipping Willow. We have different types of Whipping Willow. I believe this is from the Coral Nursery that I got from Lynn, also claimed to be a Whipping Willow of some sorts. And this one is from Rat Frog and Tornado, Toronto. This is the Japanese whipping willow. He has videos of this particular coral with really long tentacles, so the potential I know is there. And over here that has put on some size is also another Japanese coral. There's some kind of finger ladder with really nice bright green polyp and purplish skin. They look fantastic, by the way, on the blue. And you notice that, yes, the Colorado sunburst anemone has moved once again. It was here, it was stinging fangs, and then it kind of detached, attached your front glass, and then now it ended up here, so whatever. We'll let it do its thing while I clean up the tank.
The next day.
With the yellow gloves on, we are going to begin. We got the water ready for water change afterwards, but first we're going to take care of some business. This tank is way overgrown. We need to heavily prune back. Vic from Worldwide Coral recommended pulling out that entire colony that was going downhill when he was visiting 2 months ago, so he has the foresight. He knows it's going. I do see some color is slowly coming back, but we also have a lot of dead branches mixed in, and considering the fact that we have a much healthier mini colony that's also regaining color here, we're just gonna sacrifice and reclaim the spots. Now a lot of people is gonna say that, hey, why don't you just like give these away, etc. So my plan is to pull out that colony and just chuck it, unfortunately. I would love to spend the time to give it away to local reefers, but you have to understand that time is just really limited for me these days. And not to mention, with all the recent issue with this tank, I definitely don't want to pass anything to any local reefers. So with that in mind, even though there's still some viable frags in there potentially, we're just gonna have to make the sacrifice. We do have, again, that chunks right there, and I'm sure within a year we'll get something like this back, because that's kind of how long it took to grow this amount of goldenrod. It is a fast grower if the condition is right. I did also notice that we have a bunch of bubble algae that started growing on the skeleton of torts, which I guess makes sense. It was a brand new dead skeleton, brand new area for algae and bacteria to kind of compete, and it looks like bubble algae won that department, so we'll go in and scrape it a little bit as well to kind of give other things a chance to colonize that rock. But big task today is to remove these whole thing and either pull out the entire rock structure and move that over there, or if I find enough good spots, we'll replant some of the torches over there in the corner and remove this one. I'm trying to clear out this aquascape. One of these gotta go. Oh, look at this. This whole thing can come out. Maybe this whole thing can come out in one piece. It's gonna break some of these. It's gonna break some of these green slimer. So I definitely wanna... Yeah, I think this whole thing can come out in one piece. Oh dude, this is wild. Because usually, goldenrod for me is really fragile. You touch it, the branch will break. But this one, for the most part, is coming out as one. Jesus, look at this. Look at this. I better not touch the green slimer or it's gonna break as well. But look at that. That is a third of my scape essentially. Oh my lord, look at this guy. It's coming out. It's coming out. Oh, we got some green slimer. I guess I got a frag of green slimer in there as well. Just tucked it in. Alright, here just another look. Not bad, right? For 1 year of growth. But Anacropora, they grow fast, they encrust a little bit, not like the Acropora that encrust forever and then grow. They just grow. Yeah, sad this has to go, but it is what it is. Okay, pick up the camera again because right now we're at the decision point in terms of aquascaping. That big chunks of goldenrod is out. Now we free up that space. I'm looking at the available frag plug spots. And I'm looking at the corals that I'm trying to potentially move to this area. I thought about maybe moving the go torch to the back corner, but I think that's gonna put them directly in the flow of the vortex, so that's not gonna work out. They will not like direct blast. So I think alternatively, what I may do is actually remove that big chunks of aqua rock because these protrude out, and just move this entire structure to the back so that the go torch is kind of like tucked away in the corner instead of being protruded out in the flow. And the benefit is also that you have more separation between the midground and the background. I think that'll create more of a depth instead of one big piece like that. So that may look nice.
Moments later.
All right, we are about at the halfway mark. Look at this. I have moved this entire structure to the back, push it to the back. Thankfully, the torch is not in the direct flow, so I think we should be okay. So now we have this nice separation and clearing. We'll see how long that lasts. Usually you get packed up with corals pretty quick. Now we got this space right here. I want to decide whether I want to move the clam. I'll keep the clam where it is and put Goniporus here. And also we need to find some way to situate the Space Invader Pactinia. So I'll make this quick little clip because I just put in the Jebao, the 150 version that's built for 4-foot tank, and this thing is strong, dude. I have it running at 50%, and once in a while, it's on random mode right now, only 50%, and you already see everything in the tank moving. The vortex is not even on yet. I have the return pump vortex. I think it's going at 50% if I remember right, but this is just at 50%. It's already moving water for the entire tank. I am impressed. I'm impressed. I'm gonna dial this back and then I'm gonna tweak the vortex just so that they kind of work a little bit together. So just so that the whole thing is not like a washing machine down there. Look at all the fish. You're like, what is this? I gotta exercise now? Finally got this linked up to its app. It's a pain in the butt, but got it done. It's on random mode right now and it looks a little bit too insane. I feel like, maybe my imagination, but I feel like it's rocking the whole tank. Yeah, it's too strong. I mean, it is rated for a 4-foot tank, which this tank is, but they definitely under-promised and over-delivered in this case. I'm gonna dial it back a little bit. I'm not sure if there's a way to set the maximum strength for random. Doesn't look like it. In that case, I'm gonna switch over to sine wave and just dial way down. All right, this is day 2 of cleaning the tank, and look at here. 3 peppermint shrimp. I have not seen them in quite a while, but apparently they are all alive and well, and they have grown, at least tripled in size. 3 of them. These were originally from Algebon, and I did notice that all the Aptasias are gone. So initially I was quite disappointed because the peppermint shrimp did not do anything regarding the Aptasias, but apparently given enough time, we're talking about 3 to 4 months, they clear out all the Aptasias. Now, the issue becomes, now that Aptasia is gone, is it going to go after other things like zoas and mushrooms?
More moments later.
What's up, Reefers? It has been 2 weeks or so since the Rescape. I just want to show you what the tank looks like right now. Tank looks much cleaner thanks to the sandbed being a little bit more clear compared to before. Just kind of go around a little bit so you can see how the original concept of the Rockscape was. Now we get the arch back, and then we get that nice mid-ground and background separation between where the torch garden is, which is pushed all the way back to the middle portion, which is the SPS, to the front, which ends up being a small garden for Goniporus. I still have some of the Goni frags on the back wall. Some of them are doing good, some of them are not too happy. For example, the ones with the neon yellow or neon green rims, they're not extending as much versus the lighter pink ones and the dark red one. Those are happy. The rest of the clams did not miss a beat. It's really happy for the entire process. Same thing as the 2 baby Crocea clams from Clammania. They have definitely grown and they're looking beautiful. And this gives me a little bit more confidence in terms of adding more clams to this tank now that we have Rescaped. We do have some available spots right there now. Maybe I'll add 1 or 2 more clams. In terms of SPS, the dying for the most part has stopped except for on the Bumurys. The Bumurys is still really slowly STNing. I think it's probably a lost cause at this point. I may just kind of pull the coral and just throw in the towel. The Goth Bonsai, on the other hand, thankfully stopped receding and actually started regrowing over the skeleton. The Firecracker, I see that the dying has stopped, which is great. We did lose some branches up top, but the bottom is starting to regain its color, believe it or not. And surprisingly, that little frag made it through as well. Through the whole ordeal, goldenrods, of course, we got rid of the big chunk that was starting to die. This one has also started coming back in terms of the coloration. You see some of the fluorescent actually started coming back, which is excellent. Through the entire process, for the most part, the torch, the hammer, the frog spawns were not affected. You see that's the Princess Hammer from Telegram at Reef Sensei. It has grown quite a bit. Same thing with the King Hammer as well as the Prince of Darkness, which is not too dark now. It takes on like a dull green and purple shade. Not the prettiest, but in comparison, I definitely like the King Hammer as well as the Princess. The Princess is really nice as well. Torch is definitely happier than before. I see the polyp or tentacle started to extend. Not the polyp, each of the head is a polyp. The tentacle started to extend, but not for all of them. I'm still keeping an eye out on the Holy Grail. It's the tentacle is still kind of stubby, but all the other ones are kind of recovering, which is excellent to see. The Space Invader Pectinia, it was slightly rocky when I first moved them here like 2 weeks ago. They were not really inflated. In fact, this one is not. But at least the one up here started kind of inflating with water, which is a good sign. In terms of the soft corals, of course, we have the Magic Carpet, one of the few, or maybe I think it's the only one mushroom that made it through the ordeal. Sadly, I lost all the jawbreakers and the bounce, so I'm hoping to at some point at least get some jawbreaker mushroom to reintroduce them into this tank. At least one as a tester first. And back there we have the collections of the Whipping Willows. That's the Bahama Llama's Whipping Willow. It has grown quite a lot. And the other one is the Japanese Whipping Willow that I got from Josh, Rat Frog from Toronto. Next to there is actually a really tiny frag of green leather that I got from Lynn a long time ago. It's supposedly a type of Whipping Willow as well. I'm not sure if it's the same type, but that one has been really slow growing, so we'll see what it grows into. Back there is also 2 frags of the Bahama Llama's Whipping Willow as well. It's not so small anymore, but one of them will be leaving for a trade with a Reefer as well. And over here we still got some of these metallic green toadstool leather. I gave some away locally, and this is supposedly a Whipping Willow as well. This is the one from Coral Nursery, but we'll see how it develops. The tentacle is slowly getting longer. And since we're here, of course, we also have the Colorado Sunburst Anemone. Happy to report that I was able to isolate it here. I mean, it's been here for about 2 weeks now, since the Rescape. So far, so good. We'll see. Hopefully, it'll just kind of hang out there. In terms of the fish in this tank, we see the Stockeye damsels or Stockies damsels adjusting really well. Now it swims with the rest of the pack. Beautiful, beautiful damsel fish. Really pricey for damsel fish, but it really looks like a African flameback dwarf angel. So if you don't want a dwarf angel in your tank, hey, this may be a good choice. You may also have spotted 2 of the Azure damsel that I had in the Mangrove Tank moved in. I was using the Mangrove Tank almost like a quarantine tank, and I watched them for 2 to 3 months at this point. Totally fine in there, and I just drop them in here and they're totally fine here as well. And they seem to just be sticking close to the coral heads for now, as the rest of the tank mates get used to them, because once in a while the hippo tank, especially the hippo tanks, do chase them. And surprisingly, the upside down goby or the black bar goby will sometimes chase them as well. Can you imagine that? A goby chasing after a damselfish? Insane. So this tank, I am gonna start calling this the Gangster's Paradise soon, because I plan to add a few more of these like tiny damselfish in this tank. And you may be screaming and throwing things at the screen right now. It's like, what? Damselfish? Don't do it! But there are certain damselfish that's actually relatively peaceful when it comes to damselfish. For example, I'm looking at the Talbot damsels, and there may be other damselfish, but mainly I'm targeting the Talbots right now because I already got the Azures. The Talbot is supposed to be pretty peaceful. I may add 2, and I may add one of the, I think it's called Sapphire damsel, because it'll hunt down flatworms. It has that utility. So the whole fish is like a nice bright blue like that with like dark marking. So I may add one of those and then 2 of the Talbots, but I have not seen Talbot damsel for quite a while locally for whatever reason. I mean, those are beautiful fish, really good temperaments, really affordable. So I'm kind of surprised not more fish stores carrying them. And speaking of the devil, there is one of the upside down goby. If you can see it, it's among the branches down there. You see him? Yep, right there. I actually have 2 in this tank, and they usually swim together now, so I guess they paired up, which is kind of cool. And the reason I got 2 is because like I got 1 and I have not seen him for almost half a year, so I got a second one. But after adding a second one, within a month, the previous one showed up. So I guess they're just really, really cryptic, but having 2 definitely encouraged them to come out a little bit more. And I just have to comment that I just really love seeing those little fish kind of darting in and out of the coral head. And to me, I feel like that's small reminiscence of what a true, well, of course, it's totally different from what you may see in nature, but it just kind of give me that vibe that, hey, we're looking at actual coral reef, not just fish swimming up here while the coral is down there, but they kind of intermingle and just do things together. Oh, look at this. I didn't even talk about those other Japanese leather. Look at that. And look at that one. Anyways, we'll talk a little bit more about these corals in details a little bit later. And we also got to talk about the mangrove tank as well, because I kind of also rescaped that tank. Did not know that, right? But if you're watching this point, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. I really miss making content because of how busy life is. So once in a while, I can step away, make content like this. It's fantastic. That said, see you next video.